On this week's episode of Whatcha Watchin, we have a very special guest. She happens to be an expert in kid-appropriate content and will be sharing her top 5 favorite spooky season movies and some bonus content. Welcome to Whatcha Watchin, presented by Geeky A Go-Go, a show where we talk about the next binge-worthy series, uncover hidden streaming gems, and give you our opinions on the latest cinematic blockbusters and flops. Grab your snacks and let's start the show. Folks, I'm in the Go-Go solo with our special guest this week, while AP is in the field and will report back on New York Comic Con, and Eric is on a very important diplomatic mission. Hopefully, he can share some details when he gets back. Now, to introduce our special guest, I hope everyone can give a warm Geeky A Go-Go welcome to my very own daughter, Daphne. Daphne, say hello to all our Geeky A Go-Go fans.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me, Daphne.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Before we dive into our Whatcha Watchin episode, I just want to remind everyone to head on over to patreon.com/geekyagogo and consider supporting the show. It costs us money to put this production on, and we could use all the help we can get. Are you strapped for cash? Don't worry. There's a free tier that gives you access to our Discord server, so you can at least join us in our conversations between episodes. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Daphne's going to give us her rundown on her top 5 favorite Halloween movies, starting with number 5. Number 5 is Halloweentown. Daphne, tell us about Halloween.
So Halloweentown is about a girl named Marnie, and she, for some reason on Halloween, she can't go trick-or-treating. When her grandma comes over to visit, she finds out that she is in a long line of witches in her family, and she is the next one. When grandma takes her to her town, she tells them that there's a great evil in the town that's stuff that we don't know what it is yet. So Marnie and her little siblings have to team up with their grandma to find the evil person and find a magic spell to help.
Awesome. So I see here that Halloweentown actually has 3 sequels, so that means there's 4 movies total. Do you have a favorite, or is it the first one that's your favorite?
I'd say the first one.
The first one is your favorite. Okay. So, being that it's number 5 on your list, okay, how many disco balls would you give it?
I'd give it a 3.5.
3.5 disco balls. Nice. Okay. I've seen these many times with Daphne and the family every year during the Halloween season. So I am not a huge fan of it because we've seen them so often, but I can understand why Daphne likes them a lot. So yeah, I also would recommend it to a family that would like to see some spooky movies and whatnot. I would also give it, well, I would give it slightly less. I would give it 3 disco balls. And moving on to our number 4 spot, Daphne, you told us The Nightmare Before Christmas is your 4th favorite spooky season movie. Can you tell us a little about Nightmare Before Christmas?
So, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a movie about a skeleton named Jack, and he rules a town called Halloweentown, unlike the movie we talked about earlier.
So he's the king of Halloweentown, right?
Yes.
And what happens?
Yeah. So one day he's wandering through the woods, but finds a few doors. He goes in one with a Christmas tree design on it, and he finds out what Christmas is. When he goes back, he tries to make a copy of Christmas, but more with a Halloween take. This is sadly a disaster, and Jack needs to fix all of this. Okay. I'm not saying anything else for. I don't want people. I don't want to spoil anyone.
You don't want to spoil it for everybody? That's actually very good. So, people who haven't seen The Nightmare Before Christmas, number 1, shame on you. It's a great movie. Okay, so you should go see it right away. It is available on Disney Plus, and I didn't mention it before, but so is Halloweentown, also available on Disney Plus. Great film. Daphne, how many disco balls do you give it?
I'd say 4.
4 disco balls. Very high score there. I would also give it 4 disco balls. I think it's a great movie for families. And then moving on right into our number 3 spot. What's I see that you wrote here Hocus Pocus is your third favorite Halloween spooky season movie. Do you want to tell us about that?
So, just give me 1 second. I can't
Sure.
exactly remember the plot.
How about I'll give you a quick synopsis, right? The story of Hocus Pocus follows a villainous comedic trio of witches who are inadvertently resurrected by a teenage boy in Salem on Halloween night. That synopsis is brought to us by Wikipedia. The movie has recently spawned one sequel. I think it was last year that came out, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think last year.
Okay.
Right,
So
yeah, last year.
Hocus Pocus 2 came out last year. Did you like that one?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. So can you tell us
It's
about
not my
Hocus
favorite.
Pocus?
So, 3 witches are summoned by a boy in Salem long ago, but when they are arrested-ish, they said we'll come back some day, and then later another person resummons them, and then
Resurrects them?
resurrects them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, with the black flame candle.
Okay.
And when they do that, they start to unleash chaos on the town. And then when they find a zombie of a person long ago, they all team up to stop the witches together.
Okay. And we don't want to ruin the end of the movie, right?
Yep.
Okay. So how many disco balls do you have at Hocus Pocus?
I'd say another 4.
Another 4 disco balls.
It's a good classic for Halloween.
A very good Halloween classic. That's right. How many disco balls would you give Hocus Pocus 2?
3.
3 disco balls. Not as good as the original, but definitely up there, right? Okay. Yes, if you're a fan of the first one, I also recommend it as well. If you're a fan of the first Hocus Pocus, Hocus Pocus 2 is a good continuation, bringing us back to the hijinks of the Sanderson sisters. That is the trio of witches that we were talking about. So yes, the original Hocus Pocus, I would also give it 4 disco balls, and the sequel, Hocus Pocus 2, I would also give it 3 disco balls. Good job. And moving on to our number 2 spot, we have Frankenweenie. Tell us about Frankenweenie, Daphne.
So, a boy one day adopts a dog, and then one day, when 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 his dog gets when they're playing with his dog and not actually with the dog, they were playing baseball, and the dog was watching, and someone hit a home run that slided on the road. The dog mistakenly goes and catches it and tries to fetch it back, but accidentally gets run over by a car. And then the owner tries to resurrect it, which he wants to keep a secret, but his friend then ends up spilling the beans to everyone. And
Okay.
again, I don't want to spoil anyone, so this is all I'm telling.
Okay. I wrote here the film follows a boy. I'm sorry, I read this off of Wikipedia. The film follows a boy named Victor Frankenstein. So automatically we're clued in here that this is a retelling of the Frankenstein monster story, in a kid-friendly way. So the boy Victor Frankenstein uses his power of electricity to resurrect his dead dog. Right, that's what you talked about. His dead dog's name is. Do you remember?
No.
Sparky.
Sparky,
So
right.
yes, Frankieweenies name is Sparky, right? But his friends discover what happened, right? And some hilarious hijinks start ensuing, right? And it's lots of chaos happens again. So we'll leave it at that. You should definitely go watch this. This is our number 2 spot. This is very highly recommended right here. How many disco balls are you giving this, Daphne?
4.5.
4.5 disco balls. Nice. Good job. I would also give it 4.5 disco balls. This is a very fun kind of clay animated type of film. I liked it a lot too. It's just to be a joy to watch. And finishing up our top movie list in the number one spot, you gave it, and I'm sorry, Frankenweenie is also available to watch on Disney Plus. Let's see if our last one is available to watch on Disney Plus, and we have a full sweep of Disney Plus shows. But our last film in the number one spot here is Coraline. What did you think about? Can you tell us a little about Coraline, Daphne?
Yes. So a girl moves into a house, and the girl's name is Coraline, and she finds a weird door, which is very small, but she can surprisingly fit in it. And when she gets the key to that door, when her parents were there, it was just a brick wall, but that when her parents left, it led to another world. With her parents were there, but they were not exactly the same. They wanted her to stay with them, and
Mm-hmm.
she needs to escape.
Okay.
This is all I'm telling you. I don't want to spoil again.
Don't want to spoil it, right? We want people to go and watch these
Yes,
movies.
yes,
This is a top five. They
yes.
are very good choices. So yeah, what I wrote here from Wikipedia is it tells the story of Coraline. The Coraline, the movie, tells the story of Coraline discovering an alternate universe behind a secret door in her new home, unaware that it contains something dark and sinister. Very, very spooky sounding explanation there from Wikipedia. How many disco balls?
I'd say a 5.
5 disco balls. Ooh, awesome. Sadly,
And
it is not available on Disney Plus. This is available on Tubi to watch, though. So that is a free service. No one has to pay for. So that's a really good option for many families to go and see for free. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about the
and
top 5?
and and also Coraline with the movie was based off a really good book by Neil Gaiman.
Also called
I think you should go Coraline.
Coraline, the book. That's good.
Yeah. And if you like the movie or if you like the book, you should go watch it or read it.
Awesome. Good advice. Definitely, definitely good advice. And now we have some bonus content. We're going to talk about a couple of items from TV. So our first bonus TV program is a series called "Are You Afraid of the Dark?" Um, I think it first aired on Nickelodeon back in the '90s.
Yeah,
So
it's
almost
a Nickelodeon show.
almost 30, actually over 30 years ago. This series started, and the show is available to watch on Paramount Plus. The little synopsis that I wrote here is it's basically a children's horror anthology. Uh, think Twilight Zone for the kids. Daphne, what do you have to say about the show?
So it's about a group of kids called the Midnight Society who gather around a campfire late at night and tell scary stories. Well, not well-known scary stories, just things they made up among themselves.
Okay. So is every episode the same? Does it follow one storyline, or is every episode a completely different story?
Every episode is a completely different story,
Okay. So none of so they all
but it
don't
always
sync up
features
together.
something scary.
Always features something scary. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, but also they have clips, and it's not always just a story. It also shows some clips of the Midnight Society and what's happening with them. The
Okay.
first episode also lists the name of the members.
Okay. Awesome. And how many? So you did you see the whole series yet, or you're still watching it?
No, we're still on season 1,
Still on
but
season
it's
one. So
very good.
you just started watching it and you already think it's highly
Yeah.
rated that you want to recommend it to everybody. So how many
Yeah.
disco balls would you give season one, Daphne?
I'd say another 4.5.
4.5 disco balls. Ooh, that's a great, great series. I did remember watching this when I kid. Sadly, I do not remember specific episodes and whatnot. So definitely a good recommendation. 30 plus years later, a good show to watch. Everybody available on Paramount Plus. And our last bonus TV program. It's actually a TV special. It wasn't a whole series or anything like that, but it's called The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So
I
this
think the
was
title is actually It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
correct. It's The Great Pumpkin, comma Charlie Brown. So I wrote here, it's basically the Peanuts gang celebrating Halloween. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Yes. So one of the friends in the Peanuts gang, Linus to be specific, the one who's the coward with the blanket, just to be
Mm-hmm.
specific again, believes that there's technically a Halloween version of Santa Claus called the Great Pumpkin, and it will rise out of the pumpkin patch and bring gifts to everyone.
Cool.
Sadly, Charlie Brown's little sister, gets to miss out on it just to stay with Linus.
Okay, so this is a television special back. I think it was the '60s, maybe the '70s. That the Peanuts
It's
gang.
currently available. It's currently available to watch on Apple TV Plus or a DVD if you have one.
Right. Yeah, those exactly where you could watch that. So cool. How many disco balls would you give It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown?
Um, it's a 3.5,
Three and
and it's usually a family tradition to watch it near Halloween for us.
it
Yeah.
is. That's right. All right, that was it. Do you have any other thoughts you'd like to share with us, Daphne?
No, not really.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. And
You're welcome.
I will take us on out. Folks, do you want more Geeky A Go-Go? Make sure you're following us on all the socials at Geeky A Go-Go and share with us what you're watching. Want cool stuff? Want to connect with us on a higher level, like on our Discord channel? Head on over to patreon.com/geekyagogo and support the show. You'll get awesome swag and other perks. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Thanks so much for listening. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.